Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So after Canelo Alvarez completely shuts out Jermell Charlo, the question is, who will he fight next? Before this fight, of course, Terence Crawford, he was aggressively calling out the winner of this fight, and Canelo showed that he wasn't really interested in that fight at all. You know, Canelo actually said before the Jermell Charlo fight that, you know, if I were to fight Crawford, I wouldn't get any credit because he's so small. And I will say, now after watching the Jermell Charlo fight and seeing the size difference, I can agree with Canelo now, because Jermell Charlo, he had to come up 14 pounds. And even after he came up 14 pounds, Canelo was still outweighing him the night of the fight. And when I say outweighing him, I mean by a lot. Well, Crawford would have to come up 21 pounds. And once again, Canelo will still most likely outweigh him the night of the fight by 10 or 20 pounds. So Crawford would be dealing with a massive deficit in a fight like that. It's not like the Floyd Mayweather situation where Floyd Mayweather, he was able to stay at 147, even though the fight was contracted at 152. Floyd came in the night of the fight at 146. So he was still fighting as a natural welterweight, basically against a junior middleweight at the time. But Crawford would have to move up 3 weight classes. Now, with all those disadvantages, I'm not saying that Terence Crawford, he loses the fight hands down. What I'm saying is it does put Canelo Alvarez in a lose-lose situation. Because if Crawford pulled off the massive upset, that would be the most humiliating loss for Canelo Alvarez. But on the flip side, if Crawford gets in there and realizes that Canelo Alvarez is way too big, and he gets gun shy like Jermell Charlo did, then the win, it doesn't do a whole lot for Canelo Alvarez, just like the Jermell Charlo fight. So the best thing for Canelo Alvarez to do is go after David Benavidez versus Andrade winner and avenge that loss to Bivol, because he was completely dominated. Or he can even go after arguably the most talented fighter at 168 right now, and that is the WBA regular champion, David Morrell. Because if Canelo Alvarez could do what he did to the much smaller Jermell Charlo, to fighters that are his exact same size and undefeated, and are fights that fans have been asking Canelo Alvarez to take because these fights are serious threats to Canelo Alvarez, then Canelo will get the credit. Canelo has never beat an opponent like that without controversy, which is why I've been telling you guys that this win over Jermell Charlo is Canelo Alvarez's biggest win of his career, because it's against a big name, an undefeated fighter who was considered pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, and Canelo, he beat him with no controversy. Now, when I said this, there were some Canelo Alvarez fans that were upset in my comment section saying, how could you say that this was his biggest win? Some of them said Caleb Plant was his biggest win. Some said Miguel Cotto. Some said Gennady Golovkin. Once again, when it comes to Golovkin, both fights ended, the first 2 fights, they ended in controversy. The third fight, Golovkin was way past his prime. Now, for the fans that said Caleb Plant is his biggest win, that would be my exact point. If Caleb Plant is Canelo Alvarez's biggest win of his career, what does that say about Canelo Alvarez's career? He has 60 wins, and even Canelo Alvarez fans are saying that Canelo's biggest win was against Caleb Plant or Miguel Cotto. Now, Miguel Cotto was definitely a good win, but Miguel Cotto was not a fighter that was considered pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, and he was way smaller than Canelo. Canelo outweighed Cotto by about 15 to 20 pounds. So it's okay. If you want to say Canelo's biggest win is against Miguel Cotto, you want to say his biggest win is against Caleb Plant, hell, you want to say his biggest win is against Denny Jacobs. That's fine. I mean, this is all subjective, but once again, it highlights the fact that Canelo Alvarez's biggest win is not against some undefeated pound-for-pound fighter that was considered one of the biggest threats to Canelo Alvarez, like a David Benavidez, a David Morrell, a Demetrius Andrade, a Jermell Charlo in his prime. Speaking of being in his prime, it's so ironic because before this fight, leading up to the Canelo Charlo fight, what did fans keep saying? Because fans were afraid that Canelo might lose to Jermell Charlo, they kept making excuses going into the fight that Canelo Alvarez, he was on the decline. You notice when it comes to Jermall Charlo, despite the fact that he came off of his worst performance against Montiel, he's been out of the ring for 2 years. By his own admission, he's had suicidal thoughts, and mentally he's not there 100%. This is what Jermall himself said. And we haven't heard one old media member say that Jermall Charlo is on the decline. Jermall Charlo is not the same fighter that he was before the Montiel fight, before the 2-year layoff. But those same people said this about Canelo Alvarez just in case he ended up losing to Jermall Charlo. We know what time it is. So with that being said, let's get back to talking about size advantages in the ring. Size definitely matters. And when I say size, we're talking about weight, not height and not reach. There's a reason why we have weight classes and not height or reach classes. If height and reach was pretty much the same thing as a weight advantage, then fighters like Mike Tyson, Joe Frazier would not have been as successful as they were. Regardless if you're short or you're tall, that can always be used as an advantage. And this is the reason why Isaac Pitbull Cruz was one of Gervonta Tank Davis' most competitive fights, because Gervonta was not used to fighting someone shorter than him that really actually knew how to take advantage of the short height. Matter of fact, fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis and Canelo Alvarez are other examples of fighters that often fight much taller opponents. Height and reach, it can be an advantage or a disadvantage, depending on how well you use it. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, the fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Decay Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodecay.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
An important message from Youth Fountain Laboratory, makers of VasoFlux and VasoFlux for Men. If you're over the age of 35 and over the years you've eaten pizza, dairy foods, deli meats, or meats with fat, you are likely to have some degree of plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. This increases your risk of suffering a stroke or heart attack exponentially, and no one wants such a catastrophic event to occur. Introducing Blackout. Blackout is made of all natural ingredients proven to help dissolve clots in the blood, remove calcium deposits and plaque from the walls of veins and arteries, improve viscosity of the blood, improve elasticity of the veins and arteries, treat varicose veins, and prevent the reoccurrence of plaque buildup. For more information, visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856. And remember, to help unclog veins and arteries, get the Blackout.